What is going on, guys? We are out filming more content. So we just did a rut stand masterclass video, just wrapped that up, and we planted some brassicas in our sorghum plot, and now we're talking about how to hunt a transition property. So right now we're in a sea of corn. There's a lot of deer tracks in it. This is a lane that runs in the middle of a property, and this farm is corn this year. This property usually doesn't house a lot of deer, and because it doesn't have a lot of cover in the woods. It's a real close canopy woods, but this year there is a ton of deer out here. So walking down this lane here, I've saw a few areas that looked like they were just wide open, and then after walking in, 8 rows of corn, they're just spots where the corn didn't grow real well for some reason. But in those spots, when I walked out to them, I can see tons of deer tracks and a lot of deer poop and stuff like that. And I'm a Dan Infalt guy at heart, so big sign equals big deer. So I'm going to give you a little overview of this farm. So last year it was all beans, I believe, and so I hunted this spot 4 days last year. Not necessarily the peak of the rut, but the rut was going on early November, and so I hunted 2 mornings and 2 evenings, and I'm pretty sure I saw less than 10 deer total. So the woods itself doesn't hold a lot of deer. It's like a 10-acre woods, but it's just super close canopy, maybe closer to 12 acres anyway. Just not great for deer, but it's a very deer populated area. There is a lot of deer around. Just they don't bed in here, right? So when you don't have deer bedding on your property, it limits the amount of deer you're gonna see. So we made it to the woods, and you can tell a little bit, right? Like there's nothing growing in most of the spots. Like down here, it looks better than it is. Obviously in the summertime, looks are very deceiving when the leaves are on and green. The best time if you're gonna go analyze a property, the best time to do that is gonna be like January through like early April. So when you're out shed hunting is a really good time to see what you're working with. So the mosquitoes are eating me up, so I'm gonna be quick, but this is how we keep inventory on what is using this property. We have a water hole that we run a camera over. So deer don't really have a choice but to travel to this water hole. This is the closest one for them. If they're on this property or the neighbor's property, this is the closest water hole. So what that does mean is that it does bring in deer, and you could use that to your advantage, right? We have a stand up in proximity to that, but it's not necessarily, it's not a great rut stand or anything like that. So since the deer aren't bedding in here, I mean, there might be a couple bedding in here in the summer, but once fall moves around, deer will not be bedding in this woods. But since there's not deer bedding in here, and you'll catch deer traveling through here to get a drink, and there is a lot of deer on this farm this year, that means that they're in the corn, right? Deer 100% do bed in the corn. And we're gonna go to a little habitat feature that I think could be really good this year. So here we are at this terrain feature that I think is gonna be killer this year. It's a drainage. It's a ditch, and it runs lateral to the property. So if the property is running north and south, it runs like this. So this drainage kind of dead ends into our lane or trail, whatever you want to call it, that separates our sea of corn. And I haven't walked back here yet at all this year, but I can see the deer just have this tore up, and it is good and thick. And yeah, you can see all the leaves. The deer are using this like a highway. Well, drainages are good in their own right, but the factor that makes this even better is, so if we're walking down this way, on the other side of the fence row, the neighbor's property is a pasture. So part of it is a horse pasture, and you know, a little bit of it is overgrown, and then the other part of it is, I'd say there's probably 50 acres, maybe 60 acres that is just like switch and big blue stem. So a lot of thermal cover over there. This is kind of a crazy perspective here, but you can see this bench in the corn, and that is all where the deer have ate this corn up. And that is all deer damage. That is 100% crop damage. That is crazy. So yeah, my hunch is pretty much spot on here. There is a ton of deer poop. This is crazy. So my idea is to get in here and hunt this. So obviously my wind would be blowing onto the neighbor's property, which is not great if I think the deer are going to be bedding over there. I'm not quite sure yet, so I'm not running a camera out here to know exactly where the deer are bedding or staying. But yeah, I don't know. Either the deer are bedding on the neighbors and coming through here and using this, because I mean there's no way for them to be seen back here. This is 100% just like an exclusion zone for the deer, right? Total cover. Yeah, and I want to get up here in our fence row and set up a tree stand. Obviously the deer are using these, you know, the field edge, or where the corn ends to the drainage on both sides as a highway. And I think this spot could be ideal right in here where we have some trees. I don't have my binoculars with me, but just guessing, to the field, to the actual property edge, the tree row there, we're probably 35 yards, and then this drainage here from corn edge to corn edge is like 15 yards. So once the leaves dry up on this corn, I could, you know, deer probably travel the first 2, 3, 4, 5 rows in, and I'm still only going to have a 25-yard shot at best. I am going to get a trail camera out here and try to do a little scouting, because this spot just looks on fire. So I'm sorry that the lighting is terrible. It's super sunny out today. But before we completely wrap up, I want to say another thing about this location is, it's not that it necessarily means anything, but where I live here, deer love to rub on sumacs. Every year this is a scrape line. Most of the time I think it's nocturnal activity. And you can see these areas just get shredded. All the way down this drainage here. So I think, you know, historically this specific spot has a lot of buck activity. And I think that this year, with all the corn on, this is the first year in like 3 years that we've had corn back here, and I think it could be really good. All right, so we're gonna wrap up this video standing here talking about why this spot is so good right now. So the reason I think this spot is good right now is because it's in a sea of corn. These deer are secluded. It's very open, right? There is pockets where it is open, and then there's pockets where it is thick. And bucks in general, they tend to naturally gravitate towards corn, right? Deer are gonna bed on the fringes of corn in the summer, and then everyone knows that come fall, if deer can bed in corn, they're going to, because they have an infinite amount of cover in a lot of directions. And it's loud if you try to walk through corn on any day that it's not raining. It's very noisy, so deer feel very safe around corn. The other thing that I think makes this so great is that there is a defined trail system, right? So the deer can take this drainage and go out to a trail and go feed or go to that water hole. And deer can come from this drainage off of the neighbor's property from grass cover and come over here to corn, whether that's to bed or to eat corn stalks, whatever it may be. And I think that come this fall, this tree right here is going to be a killer stand location. I'm not sure if I want to put a stand up or bring my saddle back in here. I do like my saddle, but it might be one of those things where I hunted enough that it could be a good stand location. So this is a spot that I wouldn't necessarily call a rut stand. I don't think that the bulk of your rut activity is going to happen right here. I do think that you're going to catch a lot of traveling bucks, either coming to bedding or leaving bedding to go somewhere else, whether it's to get a drink or to find does. I think that this is going to be, for lack of a better term, I think it's going to be a buck nest. And I'm excited to get my trail cameras out. Obviously the deer are going to move a little bit from their summer to fall range, but this is a spot that if I had to bet money on, I could see a mature buck moving in here. If you guys like this content, make sure you guys press the like button. Leave me a comment down below what you think about this, or if there's any other type of content like this you'd like to see. And I appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so now. Helps me out as a small content creator, and helps get my videos out to everybody else. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.